Hello and a warm welcome to the news on NTA International. We are live in Abuja. My name is Obiageli Ugwoke. Now let's take the headlines. House of Representatives raises concern over adulterated aviation fuel, mandates ad hoc committee to investigate. Nigeria gets $9.26 million grants from Canadian government to strengthen healthcare delivery. Plus, explosion in Johannesburg's business district kills 2 persons. We begin with NEC meeting. The National Economic Council has taken steps to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal and floating of the Naira. Details in our subsequent bulletin. And the House of Representatives has mandated an ad hoc committee to investigate the reported use of adulterated aviation fuel by airline operators and associated safety risk posed to Nigerians in the aviation industry. The Green Chamber describes the trend as a breach of air safety regulations and violations of international best practice in the aviation industry, while requesting its investigative committee to report back to further legislative action within 4 weeks.
Of Boeing 737 aircraft belonging to Max Air, airborne 737-300, landing to the auxiliary power unit, shot down on Thursday, 7th July 2003 at the Yola Airport. Also aware that Max Air has reportedly confirmed that it got the contaminated fuel from certain undisclosed aviation refueling outlets, which eventually led to the unfortunate incident and grounding of its 5N MHM aircraft by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very urgent national issue, in fact a crisis. When I saw the water pouring out of the tanks of that aircraft, I was scared. As someone that flies every day, in fact I'm going to fly today. So I don't think this should wait for standing committee, members of committee, getting used to the committee. It's so urgent.
National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikman reports that the House at Thursday's plenary also directs the National Electricity Regulatory Commission to suspend any proposed electricity tariff hike by distribution companies pending an interface with its Committee on Power. In the meantime, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has acquired 20% equity in an indigenous gas company. The UTM FLNG Executive Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energies NNPC Limited, Abdulkadir Ahmed, says it is part of events showcasing ability and trajectory of NNPC Limited as a limited liability company, with a resolve to collaborate with notable companies for sustainable energy security for the country. Lydia Sampson reports.
Amidst high cost of fuel in the country, NNPC Limited and its latest partner, UTM FLNG, a Nigerian gas company, says plans to set up the first floating liquefied natural gas facility in Nigeria and the very first developed by an indigenous private African company is on track. The partners agree that gas, a transition fuel, must be commercialized.
Everything we do in Nigeria today we are seen as a gas country rather than an oil country. To commercialize these gas assets, therefore, there is need to harness resources together.
This is a major landmark achievement for an indigenous company to partner with one of the world's best energy conglomerates, which is NNPC. We are very proud to work with NNPC to deliver this first floating LNG. And this project has the ability to bring into this country 300,000 tons of LPG to support domestic requirements, and this is in line with the energy transition.
The FLNG, they say, will, among other things, boost production and crash the cost of gas for domestic, auto and individual use in the country. The facility also aims to leapfrog the national economy by producing an annual 1.5 million tons of liquefied natural gas for export, as well as 3,000 LPG metric tons for domestic market, in addition to creating thousands of jobs and investment opportunities in Nigeria. A floating liquefied natural gas facility is a floating production, storage and offloading unit that conducts liquefied natural gas operations for developing offshore natural gas resources. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Let's talk health matters now. The federal government has received a 9.26 million Canadian dollar grant from Canadian government to scale up COVID-19 vaccine service delivery and strengthen health systems in the country. The Canadian High Commissioner Jeremy Christophe, who will say this in Abuja at the launch of the Canada Global Initiative for Vaccine Equity, can give grants rated Nigeria high in COVID-19 response. Basi Etaipan reports that it can give is a 2-year grant.
The grant aimed at supporting country-led efforts to expedite COVID-19 vaccine delivery and distribution among high-risk groups, increase vaccine confidence and generate demand.
We are delighted to be partnering with the WHO in support of the Federal Ministry of Health of Nigeria through Canada's signature initiative for vaccine equity, also known as CanGive.
The grant will enable the WHO Nigeria country office to provide the required technical support to strengthen health system, specifically for data management and surveillance.
Though Nigeria has reached 75% of the target population of individuals aged 18 and above with at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, a lot still needs to be done.
Therefore, this grant targets states with lower performance and aims to reach high priority populations. We will be focusing on those individuals that have been left behind, either because they live in hard-to-reach communities or they do not have access to regular healthcare services.
I'd like to remind us that through resilience, through collaboration, collaborative efforts between institutions, many of which are represented here, we continue to make strides in strengthening the healthcare system and our disease control efforts. And today, with this new shot in the arm by the Canadian government, we're all here prepared to take on another formidable challenge, which is the challenge of ensuring vaccine equity.
The grant will be implemented in 15 states of the Federation. Basi Etaipan, NTA News.
And from Accra, Ghana has launched a new HIV self-testing program. HIV self-testing is one of the newest innovations in the range of strategies to encourage people to know their HIV status.
The Ghana AIDS Commission says from its records, more than 350,000 persons are living with HIV. However, only about 71% of them are aware of their status. The remaining 29% consequently pose a major challenge as they may unknowingly be spreading the virus. HIV self-testing therefore seeks to make it easier and more convenient for people to get tested for HIV. The HIV-ST is similar to a malaria or pregnancy test done at home and the results known within 20 minutes. The oral HIV-ST using Oral Quick HIV self-test involves the swabbing of the upper and lower gums with an oral swab test stick and dipping the stick in a test tube solution. Next, wait 20 minutes and then read the results. Already, some countries in sub-Saharan Africa, including South Africa, Lesotho, Eswatini, Nigeria, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, among others, have rolled out HIV-ST initiatives. The sales manager for the producers of Oral Quick HIV-ST, Mr. Joseph Oason, demonstrated how the test kits work.
The first one I will do is to open the buffer solution. So it's perforated, so I can just open that. And then it has a wing cap, so I can just pop that.
AC Ado said implementation has begun in Ghana to support a KP-led approach and accelerate progress towards the 95-95-95 goals.
Today, lay persons can receive and test themselves without the presence and direct supervision of any healthcare worker in the comfort of their confidential space using the HIV self-test kits with either blood sample or oral mucosal translate.
The Minister for Health, Mr. Kwekwajuman Menu, encouraged Ghanaians to support the deployment of the HIV self-testing kits program countrywide.
Today, as we launch the HIV self-testing kits, we must recommit ourselves to promoting the culture of compassion, understanding, and non-discrimination. Let us seize this moment and make a lasting.
And Johannesburg blast now. South African authorities are concerned that there could be a second explosion in Johannesburg's business district after 2 persons died and several injured in a large blast which blew several vehicles away. Charles Alpha has the details.
It is still unclear what led to the blast, but officials suspect an underground gas pipe is responsible. Officials have pleaded with the public to stay clear of the area. The scene at Bridge Street is still being treated as a potential risk area, with emergency services remaining there while people are being evacuated.
I don't know everything what happened, but I feel so sad because people, they lost their properties. As you can see, others, they get injured. That's a very big problem, you know.
So bad what's happened here in this street, and we were not even expecting that it can happen. It just seems like people. If you can see all the taxis there, and I don't know if the other people that are still alive.
Several streets have been closed to traffic, and electricity supply in the area has been sealed off in what is usually one of the busiest parts of South Africa's commercial hub. 12 people are still being treated in hospital for the injuries, and a preliminary inquiry did not establish the cause of the blast, and investigations are underway to determine what happened. Egoli Gas said on Thursday that they had found a small leak in one of their pipes, but they believe it is unlikely that it led to the explosion. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Iraq has warned Sweden that it would sever diplomatic ties if a Quran is burnt again. Hundreds of people stormed the Swedish embassy in Baghdad and set it ablaze in a protest against plans for one to be burnt in Stockholm on Thursday. Charles Alpha again has the report.
Iraq warned Sweden on Thursday that it would cut diplomatic relations if the Quran burning protest is allowed to go ahead in Stockholm after protesters stormed and touched the Sweden embassy in Baghdad overnight. Prime Minister Shia al-Sudani led an emergency meeting hours after the violent unrest which saw hundreds of protesters invade the Swedish compound, set building ablaze and clashed with riot police. The Iraqi government strongly condemned embassy attack, but also issued a warning to Sweden if it allows the second Quran burning protest within less than a month to go on. Baghdad had informed Stockholm that any recurrence of the incidents involving the burning of the Holy Quran on Swedish soil would necessitate severance of diplomatic relations. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Away from that, Nigeria must tap from the indispensable strength and prowess of its sons and daughters home and abroad to bolster the nation's progress and development. NIDCOM Chairman Abike Dabirerewa gave the advice at a media briefing on the National Diaspora Day in Abuja. The reports. The event is the 17th edition of the annual National Diaspora Day and the 5th in the series since the establishment of the Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission.
We focus a lot on our youth, second and third generation of Nigerians in the diaspora. 17 years of celebrating Diaspora Day, we're very proud that we're able to finally have the first Diaspora Merit Award.
Chairman of the Commission, while emphasizing the achievements of Nigerians in the diaspora, says over 17 million Nigerians are performing feats internationally in the field of education, medicine, sports, leadership, and other endeavors. She assures that their network and experience are indispensable assets, which can be harnessed to speed up Nigeria's progress and development.
We have also made a request that there should be a category for Nigerians in the diaspora for the national honors.
We have a medical outreach. We will be going to one of the general hospitals here in Abuja.
The 2023 Diaspora Day celebration is the first under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and will consist of a presidential address, consolidating diaspora engagements for the national development in Nigeria, and first ever Diaspora Merit Awards. We'll take a break now. More reports when we return. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. Senate has passed a resolution urging the federal government to review the procurement criteria of the National Mass Metering Program to prioritize local manufacturing and assembling. It also calls for the suspension of the Transmission Company of Nigeria tender for the Phase 2 of the World Bank-funded Mass Metering Program. A motion from Senator Victor Ume notes that a $151,000 loan approved by the World Bank for the mass metering program will only promote foreign companies, as the criteria set will be difficult for local manufacturers to meet.
To negotiate and engage the African Export-Import Bank, AFREXIM, and the African Development Bank, AFDB, for alternative loan if World Bank loan conditions do not favor local economic growth at this critical time of massive unemployment and devaluation of our currency.
And on government effort to diversify the economy, insufficient infrastructure, limited access to finance has been identified as some of the challenges limiting the full actualization of Nigeria's economic diversification. This was at the lunchtime reform seminar organized by Bureau of Public Service Reforms. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday was there and now reports.
Diversifying the nation's economy and increasing export activities, economic watchers say, are crucial steps towards achieving sustainable development and reducing vulnerability to global economic fluctuations. This lunchtime reform seminar examines challenges and ways forward to Nigeria's economic diversification.
The export of agricultural commodities such as cocoa, cashew, sesame seeds, palm oil, and other tropical products present a tremendous opportunity to earn foreign exchange and strengthen our national economy.
NTA is extending its tentacles around the world. Right now, we are in the process of establishing a bureau in the United Kingdom, and there will be other bureaus in Africa and in Asia. What that means is that wherever you carry out your activities, whether for exhibition or your business, you can count on the presence of the Nigerian Television Authority.
This is your passport to export.
Executive Director, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Dr. Israel Yakusak, highlighted measures the council has put in place to diversify the economy.
Youth for export program that we initiated. We are identifying youths across the country, and we're going to train them on non-oil export and how to export. But we're going to also to hand them over to experienced exporters. Those exporters will handhold them and now teach them or train them or tell them what is it, to ensure that they embark on fiscal or actual export.
Bademosi Burji, the man who left journalism to production and export of dry meats, known in local parlance as kilishi, says it's worth the while.
I'm very happy now that the president is a businessman too. He will use his vast experience to support exporters, because I know over 1,000 women entrepreneurs that they need support.
The forum advocated teamwork to make Nigeria a formidable force in the global markets that will translate into more foreign earnings as well as improve the lives of Nigerians. Adebola Brooklyn, NTA News.
On politics, Progressive Governors Forum have reactivated plans towards maintaining the leadership strength of the party under the leadership of the acting national chairman Abubakar Kyari. Chairman of the forum and Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says the governors have accepted the voluntary exit of the former national chairman Abdullahi Adamu and former national secretary Iyola Omishore. Salihu Gwenara now reports.
In their usual style and in the late hours, APC governors converged on the Imo State Governors Lodge for a closed-door meeting that lasted about 4 hours. At the end, the governors came out with a scorecard of the immediate past national chairman and national secretary of APC, who voluntarily resigned.
We commended the wisdom in what they have done, and they served us well in the party. We're happy with their services, and the party is united. There's no crisis in the party. They are happy. We also are happy. So we are in support of their actions, and we will continue to commend and respect and recognize the services they have rendered to our great party.
They also deliberated on how to utilize resources to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal and promote economic growth.
We are aware that the result of the removal of petroleum subsidy will increase the volume of money that will be received by us during the Federation account meeting. And we are working with federal government to ensure that the proceeds of that fact will be utilized in a manner that the citizens of the country are happy, the labor happy, we also, the practitioners happy. And also the economy of the country will be protected. Our economic managers supported to ensure that our solvency margin is not tampered with in the international market. Instead, it will be improved upon.
The progressive governors are confident that the party is united and solicited the support of members at all levels. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
On legal front, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted the prayers of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to have access to a medical doctor of his choice outside the facilities of Department of State Services, DSS, and all his medical records made available to him. Presiding Judge Justice Binta Nyako gave the order in a fundamental enforcement suit filed by the defendant applicant. Miriam Emekamade reports that the court dismissed the preliminary objections filed by the Department of State Services.
This matter, Nnamdi Kanu is the defendant and applicant, while the federal government and others are the prosecution and respondent. In the suit, Nnamdi Kanu sought an order of the court to allow him an unhindered access to his medical doctor while in the custody of the Department of State Services. At the previous hearing of this matter, the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, as a prosecution and respondent, challenged the jurisdiction of the court to hear the matter. In the defendant applicant's reply, his counsel, Michael Zekome, SAN, told the court that the health of his client has deteriorated, alleging that the objection of the prosecution respondent in the matter to the order were against Section 7 of Anti-Torture Act 2017. Ruling on the application, Justice Binta Nyako ordered that Nnamdi Kanu is entitled to access to the medical doctor of his choice, and not doing so would amount to breaching of Section 7 of Anti-Torture Act 2017. The court also dismissed the objection of the prosecution respondent for lacking in merit. The court equally ordered that all procedures of Nnamdi Kanu with his medical doctors should be supervised by the Department of the State Services and recorded for security purposes. Miriam Emekamadi, NTA News.
Now let's take a quick check on the weather outlook for Nigeria and some cities of the world. And that does it on this news package. Thanks for watching. My name is Sobiageli Ugoke. Bye for now.